Supposed to get that reference, but I don't get it.
I don't know.
Hey everybody, we're back. It's Wednesday night internet. Woo! And we're gonna play D&D on this here internet. My name is Scott, if you want to know me on Earth, but here in the broadband land, I am. Broadband land. That's pretty clever. I'm Wiley Hobbit, and I'm super excited to be playing some D&D tonight with four of my most favorite D&D players. So, this here game is Dragon of Icespire Peak, and we are up to episode 11, which is hard to believe. We're already 11 episodes in. And we're going to venture away from the published tale for a period of time because there's some stuff going on with a couple of our player characters that we are going to be exploring that kind of bubbled up last session. And so we're going to do some, exploring is one of the three pillars of Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to do some of that. So let's go around and meet our players. We'll start with Shannon. Shannologic, tell us who you're playing and what level you are. Wink, wink.
Hello, everybody. I'm Shannon Shannologic across actually all of the internet now because I have a Facebook now. It's crazy.
Whoa.
But I know, right? Really hip kids, and I play Lark, the level 3. Am I a Grave Cleric or a Death Cleric?
Oh, good question.
I don't know. I like Death. I like Death a lot, and it is fun. And I'm also a changeling, so I'm also lots of other people, so it gets very confusing. So, sorry.
Very, very complex. You're like a Halloween bowl of candy. All the different
I'm an enigma
flavors.
wrapped in a burrito.
Nice. All right. Hey,
I'm
Ms. Misery.
hashtag deep.
Tell us about Israelin.
Ezrealin is the level 3 Eldritch Knight fighter.
Nice.
She's half work. She likes to loom. She's done with her shit. That's about it.
Don't poke Ezrealin. Unless you don't mind getting poked back, right? All right.
Or unless you can run really fast.
Yep. Let's go over here to Man on Fire. Not to be confused with Woman on Fire, but Man on Fire. Ethan.
Hey, interwebs. I'm Chris WikiVA on the Twitches and Discords. My Twitter handle is below. I play Ethan, 94th level human diviner, who is just a normal guy making his way in a pretty crazy world. Nothing to see here.
Nope, everything's fine. 94th level. What must
Good.
it be like to be 94th level in a 3rd level party? Well, I guess we'll find out this evening.
Powerful.
It's powerful, yes. And last but not least, playing Lulu and going to help us out by covering Bryphon a little bit. Sabrina was unable to join us, so Rebecca, tell us a little bit about Lulu and Bryphon.
Hello. Bryphon is Bryphon. That's all I know about Bryphon. But Lulu is a level 3 now. Kobold Druid. Bryphon's a wood elf ranger. That's all I know. Lulu likes jerky.
And she likes Bryphon.
She likes Bryphon.
They're siblings.
I'm a little rusty with the introductions right now.
You're good, man. They're siblings. So, pretty cool. And what's kind of interesting is we do play D&D not only on Wednesday nights, we do play D&D on actually Pathfinder on Sundays at 1 p.m. And we've been a little inconsistent on that game in particular lately, just having trouble getting everybody at the table. But we fully intend to play this Sunday, so that's exciting. There are issues happening there that need to be resolved, and hopefully I will still have a character by the end of that session. And then on Mondays, we play D&D back in Faerun. The Sunday game is set in Greyhawk. On Mondays, we play Mysteries in the Dalelands, and by some good fortune, half of that group is in our chat this evening. So hello, Monday night crew. Thanks for hanging out here on Wednesday night. And so that's kind of what happens here on the Wiley Hobbit Twitch channel and community. So I'll post our Discord link in the chat and all kind of stuff. And So let me give you a quick recap. Last session, or they, I should say, finished up with exploring the gnome's lair, I guess, for lack of a better term. Gnomengard is the name of it, and gathered a few magical items and a couple of gnomes. And they made their way back to Phandalin, and they dickered around a little bit with Harbin Wester, a little negotiating and sharing of information. On their way back, they ran across a band of gnolls who had captured one of the young human scouts that Wester had sent out to look around to see if he could, they could learn anything about the dragon. So the party did their good deed and helped the scouts on their way. And one of the interesting things about their meeting with Harbin Wester is he would like them, he's kind of leaning on them to become a chartered adventuring party for the village of Phandalin at his beck and call, or on call for the village, to protect and serve, whatever you want to call it, to rid the village of white dragons, I'm sure. So the party is in the process of mulling that over and thinking about it, and they were mulling it over some beverages at the Stonehill Tavern, Inn and Tavern there in Phandalin, when a conversation broke out, and Ethan shared a little bit about his interesting Ethanness, I guess, that which is Ethan, kind of divulging a little bit of his story. And an individual kind of was eavesdropping and overheard Ethan describing a vision he was having recently about a redheaded youth who was appeared to be injured, scared, maybe alone, and it looked like this individual might be suffering at the hands of a very cruel stalker or captor, or something foul is amiss. And this elven patron in the inn, Callum, her name is, said, "Yes, I've seen this person you describe." And she described the individual and said, "Yeah, I saw them, what was it, 3 days ago, I believe she said, on the high road just east of, as she calls it, oops, I lost it, hang on. What does she call it? It's the Mirror of Dead Men, but being an elf, she calls it by its elven name, and now I can't find it, so that's really just a big downer that I can't find that, because it's a really cool name.
Merdelaine.
Merdelaine. Thank you. Good
Merdelaine.
grief. I've only written it like 1,000 times. At any rate, so the party in response was like, "Oh my goodness, we need to go see if this is Rhodey, the brother of Lulu and Bryphon, because he kind of fits that description." And so, as we closed things up, it was late. They were getting ready to take their long rest, go to bed for the evening. Toblin, Toblin Stonehill, the proprietor of the inn, was going to be making preparations, getting them, I believe, getting you horses and so forth, provisions. And he sent his one of his staff members, Sandy Curly Toes, the halfling, over to fetch Lulu and Bryphon, and that's where we're going to pick up our game. And it will be early the next morning. Each of you, Ethan, Ezra, and Solana, you hear a knock on your door. It's time to get up. It's time to make preparations. You hear softly spoken at your door. And you can already hear voices. Lulu and Bryphon, you two are rushing off into the night, or the very, very early morning, barely packed for the road. And you're making your way to the inn because, as we role-played earlier, Sandy Curlytoes came and fetched you all and said, "Hey, Master Toblin would like to have you at the inn. Come prepared to travel." And that's where we're going to start off. So, Bryphon and Lulu, you're kind of racing into the inn. And Ezra, Ethan, and Lark, you're down in the tap room kind of making preparations.
What need you be doing, Mr. Toblin?
He is nowhere to be seen. All you have in the tap room right now is a small fire in the hearth. And Sandy Curlytoes is kind of bustling about, keeping things clean and happening. He's already got a nice breakfast set out on the biggest table, the big round table. And you see your party members, Ethan, Ezra, and Lark, I would presume probably seated around the table.
Hello, we're Toblin.
Lulu, did the messenger tell you exactly what we were doing?
No.
We think we know where Rhodey is.
Oh. Where?
Well, we have a last location sort of thing, so we have a lead to possibly finding him.
She'll jump onto the table and like stare at everybody like real intense.
We knew where he was 3 days ago.
Roddy rock fast. Not be in the same place 3 days ago.
It's
I mean,
true, he could be anywhere.
It's something though, so.
Well, if there's still a lead, we should go follow that lead, I suppose. It's been too long since he's left, says Bryphon.
One thing we should consider, however, is that for all intents and purposes, we are this town's only defense. And evil shrouds Phandalin like a fog.
Don't you think that's a bit dramatic?
Do you think so?
Yeah, just a bit.
But Phandalin been fine before us.
As we speak, evil has its designs on Phandalin. I believe that they are in the process right now of recruiting a spy or a saboteur.
Are you sure about this in the same way that you were sure I was possessed?
I've foreseen it.
Because remember how it turned out that I'm not possessed?
I have foreseen this. And if we go on this mission, I'm not saying we shouldn't go, but if we do, Phandalin is defenseless.
Well, I mean, we do have the gnomes here working on the ballistas.
I don't know how fast gnomes work, but they just got here last night.
Yeah, true.
And I'm not so sure they would be capable of defending Phandalin. They couldn't defend themselves from a carpet.
It was a very scary carpet. Like, it clashed with the walls, I'm sure. I bet it looked hideous.
I believe this information that we've received is convenient.
Isn't that a good thing?
Now, I mentioned to you last night that in order to fish, you have to bait the hook. You're the bait.
Wait, no. Isn't Rhodey the bait and we're taking it?
Perhaps you're the fish then, I don't know.
I'm confused with this metaphor. I need some clarity.
It could go either way, really.
Roddy
Wait.
too big to be bait.
No, it's not.
Nothing on a hook.
It's not a literal. I think what Ethan is trying to say is that this is all so convenient that it's likely we are expected to go do a certain thing because of it.
It's a trap.
That. I didn't want to say it because I don't like that word.
We look great at making traps.
I feel like you're missing the point, Lulu.
Lulu Cobalt great traps.
sure you are, but this could be a trap, and Rhodey is being used to lure us to a place where we could get very much hurt.
Or whoever has its design set on Phandalin could take advantage of our absence.
I hope you're not suggesting that we split the party, because that is never a good idea.
I would never suggest something so crazy.
As you're talking, Toblin comes in out of breath. I mean, he looks like 10 miles of bad road on a wet, rainy night. You know, he's sweaty, he's bleary-eyed, and he thumps down a big decanter of coffee, and he's fresh milk on the table. Oh, good morning. I'm glad you're up and ready to go.
Hello, look terrible.
Oh, thank you, Lulu. I've been up all night preparing for your trip. We have horses. Wester should be here any moment. And almost as if it was like set up, the door opens and Wester comes in, and you notice he kind of blows in the door. He's got two young men with pitchforks with him, almost walking like they're escorting him. Human males, probably late teens. And they slam the door shut. It seems a wind has come up outside. And he kind of straightens his hair and he comes in. Oh, good, you haven't left. I just wanted to see you off on your important mission. Toblin sits at the table. Wester sits at the table. And then these two young men stand on either side of Wester and face the door. And they just kind of have their pitchforks on the floor, the tines up, watching the door with their backs to your table.
Or perhaps I was mistaken. Perhaps Phandalin has some other source of defenders.
Wester kind of
What was last night?
tilts his head. Oh, well, these two here, I just simply asked them to look after me. I haven't left the house since we heard of the dragon, and, well, I just don't want to be taken, honestly. These two young lads, very fine stock. Thank you, boys. And he slaps one on the back, and he slaps the other one on the back, and they start to turn and look, and then they remember they're not supposed to turn around and take their eyes off the door. And Toblin just kind of, is just like...
I mean, I don't think anyone would ever target you specifically.
Well, I am the town master, after all. Kind of a self-important air, kind of puffs his chest out a little bit.
I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself on this one.
So,
Because
yes.
that seems like the safe thing to do.
Kind of
do the same.
looks at you all. Thank you for that, I think. Yes, so, anyway. I've gotten you outfitted with supplies for a journey of I don't know how long you'll be gone, a few days, a week maybe, but you have enough provisions for 7 days for your group. Courtesy of the village, we really would like to see Rhodey Ireson return safely. I know his family misses him, and he kind of nods at Lulu and Bryphon. And we want to help in any way we can to support you. He kind of says it almost like he had it like memorized, written out a little bit. Go ahead.
Lulu will whisper to are you Locke right now or Cilantro?
I am Cilantro. Thank you for asking.
Lulu will lean over to whisper to Cilantro. Lulu would think he have ulterior motives.
Why?
Because he's scared of cat.
I mean, that statement is true. I'm not so sure about the ulterior motives, which I'm very proud of you for knowing such big words.
I'm in a heart.
I'm not being sassy. I'm legitimately impressed. Those are hard words, even for some. Anyway, I think we're okay.
What's sassy?
How do you know the words ulterior motives and not know what the fuck sassy means?
Mama not teach me that word.
I don't have a good example right now. We'll talk later.
Well, Lulu know like. What's the title again? I'm sorry.
Town Master.
Town Master.
Yeah.
Lulu know like Town Master.
Well, perhaps next election day, you should vote in a new one.
What vote mean?
He kind of cocks his head. Well, at any rate,
Oh, yeah, I forgot he was here.
Lulu was trying to be quiet.
the village elders had a quick meeting this morning. I got them to come meet with me in my chambers, which is his parlor, sitting room, but he refers to it as his chambers. And they authorized me to reward you with 100 gold pieces, the group, should you return with Rhodey intact.
Why so much for one person?
Well, he's one of us. It's important.
Brody worth all that money.
Yeah, it's important.
What did Brody do before he left? What is he to this village?
Well, as I
Brody,
understand
big
it, go ahead.
brother.
Yeah. Didn't he go and he looks at Lulu. He went to be trained as a herbalist and alchemist. Yes, I believe. Very, very valuable skills to have out here on the edge of the wild.
Brody big and strong and good at alchemy. Also give good cuddles.
I'm sure the cuddles are the reason why he's worth 100 gold.
Very important. Worth 5 times. Worth big more than that gold.
Big more than that.
Harbin
Sorry, that was just really adorable.
Harbin sets out a sack on the table, and you hear the familiar clink of vials. And he unties the sack, and the gold will pay you when you return, of course. Here is something, though, that we wish to send with you. And he opens the sack, and there are 3 potions with a pink, viscous liquid. These are 3 potions of health, healing, that should help keep you, well, healed on your way. I'm not saying that there will be danger, of course, but in the event that there is, it'll be helpful.
What kind, if there was a scale, what kind of healing do these potions do?
Oh, you've seen these before. These are healing potions. 2d4 plus 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you've seen these. These are the kind of the pink, viscous. I think the darker red they get. It's kind of how I imagine them. So these are 3 standard healing potions. Yeah. Hopefully you won't.
Howard Town Master guy.
Hopefully you won't need them. He just kind of looks at Lulu. Safe Town Master. Wouldn't be good for Phandalin to be without its Town Master, now would it? No one answer that. And he kind of looks at Solana.
I was gonna say, you're right, you are invaluable, but you know what? It's very humble of you to not want praise. I'll never praise you again.
It wasn't my concern. Right. Very well. So, what questions have you? I'm sure you're wanting to be off quickly.
Hey, Mr. Tower Town Master guy.
Yes, dear.
Mama's Mama said shouldn't go out and find Rhodey. So if Lulu go, will Lulu get in trouble?
You should probably take that up with your mother, he says, carefully considering his words, remembering the last time he irritated your mother and how he couldn't taste for 3 weeks afterwards because she put something in his ale.
Lulu remembered that. It's hard playing Bryphon and Lulu at the same time. I suppose we should tell them that we didn't really tell them why we were leaving in the first place.
Oh, your mother?
Yes, my mother.
Yeah, I think you would have explained that before you left and gotten her blessing. Yeah.
Oh.
She would have been. She would have been very excited, knowing that you're going with the full group. It's not like you're just racing out the door, by yourselves. So.
Oh, I don't remember that in the RP. Never mind.
Yep.
Okay.
We're going to assume that is the case.
Cool. Then ignore the Lulu question of the day.
Toblin drinks some coffee. So, will there be anything else before you set off? Is there anything else you can think of? We got your rope. We have tents for you to. You should be one evening's rest between now and when you reach the edge of the Mirror of Dead Men. So you'll need to camp once. I would recommend not camping near the high road. You're going to have to cross the high road right near the swamp there, the entrance, where the mirror begins, but don't camp too near the road. It's too dangerous. All manner of folk travel that road, and not all of them have good intentions.
Seems like we have what we need. If we're going to do this, we should leave.
Yeah, who knows where Rhodey is by now, or... I mean, the sooner we move, the sooner we find him, I hope.
We need to find him quickly.
Oh, let's go.
Townmaster stands and kind of shakes out his fineries, his fine clothing. Well, we thank you for your service, and please don't forget my offer last evening and what we considered. We would love to charter you.
We still need to discuss it, but once we settle this Rhodey matter, if we settle this Rhodey matter, we will definitely... A lot of steps we gotta take, a lot of thinking and stuff.
Well, very well then. If you don't mind, I'm going to scurry back to the house before the sun breaks. Safer that way. Come on, boys. And he steps off and goes out, and as he pulls the door open to the inn, the wind kind of almost yanks it out of his hand. It's pretty breezy out, and you can smell rain. It isn't raining, but you can, it's in the air. It's going to rain today. DM says so. And they blow out the door, slam the door, and they're off into the darkness. Toblin stands, smooths his apron out. Did everyone get enough to eat this morning? We don't want you going away hungry. You have a big day. Probably a few big days ahead of you.
I mean, I'm fine. I don't know about my party members.
Can Lulu take some food with?
We have plenty of food packed on your horses. We have enough food for each of you for a week. Probably won't need that much, but
But
pays to be careful.
there's still food on table.
We'll take care of that. Feel free to fill your pockets, dear. There's a pile of jerky on the table. He knows. And we put jerky in the. With
She
the
will do exactly that.
there's a lot of dried meat for meals. Dried fruit, dried meat, dried breads. Well, not dried breads. Breads. Cheeses.
She will proceed to gather as much as she can and stuff it into Bryfin's bag.
And you'll find on one of the horses a earthen decanter of ale. If you keep it wrapped, it should remain cool all day. Keep it in the shade and keep it wrapped out of the sun. And it should be nice and cool this evening when you make camp. And he stands up and
I would
off.
suggest.
Go ahead.
I would suggest we leave.
Yeah, he rises and offers his hand. May Timora and her luck be with you.
Thank you, Tobin.
The horses are out front. Going to be a breezy day, so mind that you secure your gear.
How many horses?
There are 4.
Oh dear.
Lulu will ride with Bryfin.
How do you work these things? I'm gonna whisper to like Ezra. I'm like, how do you make a horse work?
Just ride next to me and follow what I do.
Okay. I immediately like look really grumpy and serious and fold my arms just to mimic Ezra.
And you're on the fucking horse.
I need to practice now. Oh wait, hold on, I got this. And in like a moment, you see a shorter Ezra. Pineapple. Hi, how are you? I mean, I'm you.
Do Lulu next.
I don't know if I can get that small. Huh?
Lathander gave me patience.
Who's that?
Lathander is a god.
There's more than one god.
There are hundreds.
I'm just joking. Of course I know there's more than one. I'm a sociologist. Well, right now, I'm a grizzled half-orc that takes no shit from nobody, and I'm just gonna, like, weirdly scuttle to the horses.
I didn't think it was grizzled, but okay.
I mean, I'm a ravishingly beautiful half-orc that doesn't take shit from nobody.
You may look like me, but I can still launch you like a javelin into a wall.
Is it weird that that's kind of cool?
I know I'd pay to see it.
I would pay for that to happen to me. What is wrong with me?
Can we get on the
Lulu,
road,
like-
please?
I'm gonna shift back into Solana now that I'm done being a little shit.
Yeah.
Pineapple.
So you head out the front door. Toblin bids you farewell. Standing there with Sandy in the tap room, they kind of raise a cup of coffee to your good health, and it's breezy out. You have to kind of grab your cloaks are flapping in the breeze, and you can definitely smell rain on the wind. The wind is blowing straight from the west, from the sea, and it's breezy. But yeah, you find 4 horses with packs. You see on one horse there's even a shovel. I mean, they apparently have thought of everything. There's bedrolls. There's a what looks to be in a large roll, maybe a tent or some sort of temporary structure that you can use to camp. And it is you just see little streaks in the eastern sky of gray wisps of the initial sign of the sun rising behind the thick, angry clouds. It's very cloudy, very breezy, and it feels like at any moment it's probably going to rain. Still pretty dark.
Oh dear. I mean, do you think we'll be able to find any tracks or anything in weather like this? Once it starts, I mean, it could start downpouring, right?
It could, but we have an experienced tracker with us if we have to.
We do?
Bryphon?
Yes. I mean, do we know she's an experienced tracker?
She hunts. She'll have to be able to track. You don't always kill your prey with first kill. Sometimes you have to run them down.
You do? That seems inefficient.
It is. As well as a good shot.
I usually just sort of break their legs so they don't get away first.
And we're a ways away before we have to start worrying about tracking someone, I think.
Lulu can predict the weather if you need help.
I mean, we have eyeballs. We can kind of see what the weather is gonna do.
Well, can tell you what weather will be tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's go. We're losing time.
Right. How, like, Solana's gonna, like, get on the horse, kind of wobbly, and be like, mush!
So Ezra, you know, and Ethan, you would probably know as well, having come up from Waterdeep, and Ezra, you're just familiar with this. You know, you've traveled most up and down the northern Sword Coast from 10 Towns to Waterdeep and well inland. You know that the quickest way out to Merida Lane would be overland. If you were to go out to the trade road that runs north of Phandalin, it's an east-west highway, and go west and then down the high road, it would probably take you close to 2 days. Whereas if you go straight overland across just due southwest and make directly for the northern reaches of Merida Lane, you can be close to the high road by the time you need to camp, and then you would be within 2 hours of entering the swamp the next morning. And you would also know that you'll be traveling mostly through grasslands. You're familiar with this country already. On your way out to the Dwarven excavation and up to Umbridge Hill, you traveled through grasslands. It's kind of very gently rolling, tall grasses, some streams, a little bit rocky here and there, some groups of trees, nothing that you haven't dealt with before.
While we're just starting to get going, I'll teach Solana the basics of riding a horse.
Okay. Why don't you make an... is there animal handling? Isn't that one of the things? Isn't that like a skill
Yes.
check?
Yep.
Yeah. Why don't you, Ezra, make an animal handling check?
Already rolled 21.
21. Yeah. So, Solana, you're very confident that you can make the animal move forward, stop, turn left and right. Ezra even shows you, horses have, what is it, like 5 speeds? Like walk, trot, canter, or whatever. They have several different settings. And she shows you how to move the horse from speed to speed, faster than slower.
Put it in shift, park,
She
neutral.
teaches you how to shift gears. Yeah, basically.
How do you parallel park a horse?
Ludicrous speed.
Yeah, ludicrous. Yeah, that's great. Spaceballs. Yeah, so you're able to get on your way, and just like you suspected, Lulu, in particular, you knew that within the hour it would be raining, and it is indeed raining, and it's the really nice kind of sideways rain. That no matter what you do to keep it out of your clothes, it finds a way in, so that whatever's under your outer things is also going to grow damp fairly quickly. It's not cold, it's just a little uncomfortable. It's chilly, if you will. But it's not difficult terrain or anything like that. It's just not as pleasant of a day as maybe you'd hoped it would be. The sky does eventually, the sun comes up somewhere in the east, but it doesn't get any lighter than pretty dark gray. It's just a dreary, rainy, breezy, gusty day.
Lulu's in the bed. Bryce is miserable. She's just like,
Yeah, Lulu, you can probably stay drier than the rest. You're not going to be able to remain bone dry because water is forcing its way into anything that's got a little opening or a fold or a crease is going to, water's going to find its way in over time. But again, it's not uncomfortably, miserably cold. It's just not as pleasant as you'd like. Unless you hate getting water or wet, then it's probably kind of miserable. So, yeah. You're on pretty firm ground, so you don't have any issues with, it's not monsooning. It's just an average rainfall, no thunder and lightning or anything, just rain showers. And you have no trouble navigating through the grasslands throughout the day. It never really gets that bright out. As you work through the day, periods of rain you get more dry than wet. The rain stops and the intervals of not raining grow longer. And finally, it all just, by the time it's supper time in the evening, early evening, and you're probably thinking about making camp, it does stop raining at least, but everything's pretty damp.
Lulu will attempt to start a fire to make food.
Okay.
Is this on attempt?
Yeah, it's damp. You can find firewood. You've been through a few stands of trees. There's no proper forest or woods, but there are areas, especially like when you see maybe a little stream, there'll be trees around it, or like a water hole that game might come to drink. And when you find those trees, you're able to collect enough downed branches and such that you've got enough wood there to make a fire. Why don't you roll survival at -3 since everything's pretty wet. See if you can get a fire going.
Oh, well, she has Druidcraft, so she can just make a fire happen.
Or you could use Druidcraft to make a fire happen. So we'll say that's what you do.
Yes.
Nicely done.
So she'll spend some time making it all nice and pretty with some stones around it and just bang! And
Yes. And the rest of the party is immediately thankful. The fire seems to lift everybody's spirits. It's bringing you a little warmth. As the sun goes down, it's just a little chill. It's one of those weird, it's, I want to say it is maybe 20 flame rule. I didn't check the date. So it's not quite midsummer, but it's just oddly chilly for a near midsummer evening. But the fire makes it all better. So what would y'all like to do as you get your fire going? Still, by your reckoning, probably 3 hours of whatever remainder of this daylight there is.
And how far are we from the edge of Merdelin?
I would say by your reckoning, having been up through this way before, you know that the high road runs right along the Mere of Dead Men. and it almost kind of wraps around part of the northern edge and then goes north again. And you're in that little bow right there, and you're probably half mile off the road. And then across the road is, within a mile or two is where the swamp really starts getting thick. Does anyone think they know anything about the Mirror of Dead Men?
Know what we learned last week.
Izra's passed by it. She probably has learned something about it. I don't know how much would be true. Also, apparently, on call's busy tonight, so I'm sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Okay.
Do your thing. It is okay.
Well, Lulu and Bryson have started making food in the gallon pot they have.
Okay. What are you making? What did you find in the bags?
Soup.
What's in the soup? Stew?
Well, using some of the leftovers for breakfast.
There was bacon and ham. There were potatoes.
Probably a rudimentary potato soup with bacon garnish.
Nice.
I'm trying to think. I feel like Solana wouldn't know about the Mirror of Dead Men, but I feel like Lark would. So I think Solana looking drenched and miserable and just terrible would shift into finally Lark.
Is it like
Yes.
a flash, or what happens when Lark changes shape?
Smoke.
Well, Solana just like you see the bone structure of her face even change.
Oh.
What was once thin and angular becomes more round and severe. A very masculine jaw and a very crooked nose. The sharp elven ears disappear. The hair essentially looks like it blows away in the wind, and the skin pales drastically till it's like ashen white.
Lulu will do a double take and like, who that? Who are you? It's like pouring a ladle at you.
I'm Lark, Lulu. And Lark just like turns very slowly and just stares at Ezra. Pineapple.
Yeah, I watched this one.
You told Solana to do it every time. This is what you asked for. This is what you get.
So roll me history, Lark.
All right. $24.
24. So, it's about 30, 40 miles wide at its widest west to east point, and probably about 100 miles from north to south tip. It's just north of Thornhold. It runs along the high road, almost contours the shape of the swamp. And the Elvish call it Myrtleane, which means slow marching court. It's a salt marsh. So it's almost as if the sea kind of swallowed this land. It's forested. It's dark. There are a lot of castles, manors, farms, homes that were swallowed up by the sea, and this once lush farmland became just a dreadfully dark and deep, dangerous swamp. And apparently, there were armies on this battlefield when the sea swallowed this grassland, and it killed the armies that were drowned there. Legend has it that some undead, powerful lich caused this to occur, this unnatural disaster to occur, and it drowned all the armies. And so the day was won, for the lich. And it's a place where most people try to avoid. Goodness knows what's up in there. You've heard stories of maybe undead. Obviously, wild animals that would inhabit swampland are probably drawn there. Goodness knows what ill-tempered, ill-willed, malicious, malevolent beings now inhabit the ruins and the swamp.
I'm gonna tell all that, but yeah, probably undead. My boss has told me to take a look at it before, but I've never gotten out this way.
Who's your bosses?
The higher-ups in charge of this sort of thing.
What sort of thing?
Death.
You were belong to an organization, or were you an acolyte of a religious organization?
I'm a cleric. My boss is the god of death.
So I guess I shouldn't take Clelenvor's name in vain.
You can say whatever you want. I'm not here to push the guy on anybody. I don't have pamphlets or a speech.
Just want to know if I can swear or not.
I don't fucking care.
Cool.
I think we're going to have to decide before tomorrow where we're going to look for this young man. I, for one, don't want to spend a great deal of time going through a swamp full of dead people.
Well, no one wants to go through a swamp full of dead people, but what if this guy is one of the dead people? We're gonna have to find him eventually.
Oh!
I don't believe he's in the swamp. I believe that this is related to the gnolls.
So you think he's at the place they're congregating?
That's my guess, but I don't have any evidence to support it.
Bryphon starts bringing around small bowls of soup. Please don't insinuate our brother is dead. Thank you.
Sorry, but it's the reality of the matter.
Bryphon will point back to Lulu, who's like...
Well, I think we do need to inject a dose of reality into some of this. I have foreseen his condition is not good. I also am still troubled by our encounter with gnolls. It seems, again, convenient that the gnolls captured a scout, had a mysterious visitor while keeping this person captive, to reveal a location that they're going to gather, and then we happen to stumble across that piece of information. I think it's a trap.
So you've said, but like all roads that we need to take lead to the trap. So I mean, if we approach it thinking it's a trap, does that not in fact prepare us for the trap?
Well, I want us to be prepared for the trap.
Okay, so the gnolls are trying to trap us, or whoever is associated with the gnolls is trying to trap us. What do we do about it? Besides walk into the trap, smash a couple skulls, and find Brody.
Well, I want to find this young man because he's in grave danger. I think we need to decide where we're going to look for him, because the more time we spend, the more time we waste, I guess, the less time he has. He's running out of time.
Lulu no is scared of Knowles. Lulu, kill Knoll. She's like huffing and puffing over by the pot.
Well, we killed 3 gnolls.
Yeah.
30 gnolls might be more challenging. 300, even more so.
Lulu no care. Rody important.
Yeah. I mean, he's your brother. That's understandable. But if he's dead, it's a reality you're gonna have to face. If we find out we cannot save him, we have to be able to run away from this. If we need to.
Enough people dead already.
People die every day, Lulu. Right now, someone's dead. Boom, another person's dead. See that second that just went by? There goes another person. I know it's not pleasant.
Lark. Is that your name? That's correct.
That is what I am referred to.
If you could not talk about death so freely, that would be most appreciated. Lulu is not like talking about death.
It's a reality. If you avoid it, that's your problem.
Just go easy.
Lark, show some sensitivity.
I kind of don't have that, but I'll try.
Who knew that traveling with a death cleric could be so uplifting and refreshing?
You're one to talk, Mr. Portends of doom and gloom and grave situations. Have you said one positive thing since we've met? I don't think so.
I think I brought you coffee once.
You brought me coffee because you thought I was possessed, and you were trying to interrogate that out of me.
Well, you must look beyond the motive.
No, I mustn't.
Appreciate the gesture.
Odds are, if I was possessed, you were going to throw that hot coffee in my face.
Nah, I would never do that.
Really?
I would certainly want you to become unpossessed had you been possessed, but as it turns out...
My point being, this group is sort of comprised of negative Nancys, and that's okay. Or just very realistic people with a can-do attitude and a very blunt way of speaking.
I'm not negative. It's just my face.
I didn't say... you're very blunt, and that can often be taken as negative.
Well, you certainly have a half-glass full way of looking at this. Or a full half glass, or whatever I mean.
My point is that if we deny the possibilities of the negative, here's how I've gone through life, and maybe it'll make clear why I'm like this. If you have the lowest of low expectations for everything, you will be pleasantly surprised or prepared by the outcome.
At this point, Lulu is just like curled up behind the pot next to the fire, just being very quiet, like away from the group's eyes. So.
And I'm very sorry if it comes off as insensitive or harsh, but death is my life.
And with that said, I don't think any of us want to rush into to be, dead. We want to be cautious. And at the same time, we want to use our time wisely to help save this boy.
How old is Rhodey?
Oh, let's see. It's hard to say. He's very tall. So is his father. Our father.
Does height equate to age in humans?
Well, our father Roder is like 7 foot plus, so Rhodey is like 6 something.
Jeez.
I think he's...
Did they subsist off of milk alone?
I don't know. They're very big. I think Rhodey is, if not early 20s, very late teens. It's hard to say. He looks older than he is, I think.
7 foot for a elf is extremely tall.
Oh no, they're humans.
7 foot,
Rodelheim and Roder are both human.
Are you sure?
seven
Yeah.
foot tall for a human is near. It's very unusual.
I mean,
Roder's in the
giants look kind of human.
No, he's human. Roder isn't around very often. He's usually back hunting, but he's the tallest human I've ever met.
Does he use a fucking tree as a walking stick? He sounds like a giant.
I think he did that once, actually. A little tree.
Oh,
But,
Is do you have little tusks, or is he just a little bit gray?
no, he's a human. He's a human.
all the time, or does he change into one when he needs to?
No, he's human as far as I can tell. So is Rhodey.
And your mom's human.
What?
Your mom is not an elf.
I think she's at least half elf, perhaps. It's hard to tell with them.
I guess, okay, there's no, like, I'm just gonna ask. Are you biologically her child?
No.
Okay. I mean, I figured with Lulu, because, you know.
Yeah, just to be safe, Lulu is not.
That was kind of obvious.
We're sisters, though, and that's not debatable at all.
No, that's fine. Like, familial ties, I'm not gonna. Family is who you make of it. But that's probably a story for another time. We should focus on finding the ginger boy giant.
Yeah, if we could not bring up death anymore today.
Okay, then you're not allowed to talk about hunting and elf things. This is who I am. I am a death cleric.
Listen, I know, but it's not as simple as that. It's a kobold.
It's very simple. You're alive and then you're not. It doesn't get more simple than death.
Just, please. Kobolds have a very simple mindset when it comes to being alive and being dead. Let's just not go there with her, please. It gets really bad. I don't want her screeching right now.
All she does is screech. That's kind of how she communicates.
You have not heard her screech. She will screech really fucking loud. If you get upset enough, it's really bad.
I really want to hear this now, and I know I shouldn't, because I know that's rude. And I may be a little out of it, but I can take some social cues.
We're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no screeching right now. Just make it back to Vandalin. Talk about that. Then she can screech all she wants to.
Fine, I'll just talk about knitting and quilting and stuff that has nothing to do with,
She likes those things. That's fine. It's not death as much as you have been. Okay.
I have literally nothing else to talk about.
You have to.
Good talk about where we're going to start to look for Rhodey in the morning.
Yes, that's a wonderful idea.
Wherever there are the most dead things.
Okay. Lulu, your soup is very good. Thank you.
Alright, so we were told where she found him on the road. Most likely the rain has destroyed any sort of track that's there. But we might as well see if we can find at least the area that she was talking about. And we can take a look before we move into the swamp. We also need to look at possibility of recent activity. Heading into the swamp or into the forest. Even if it
First-
is.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Even with swamps and things like that, there's usually only one or two easy ways in. If you just go right off the road into it, you don't last long. So most likely we need to find a decent entrance. That'll be most likely where he went, unless he's truly desperate, then we will possibly have an unfortunate outcome.
Well, if he was being pursued, which I believe he was, his instinct may have been that if he went into the swamp, he may be able to evade his pursuer. If he was captured, I don't believe they would have kept him in the swamp. I believe they would have gone back to their meeting place in the forest.
Does Rhodey have any things that he keeps with him all the time? Like a lucky charm.
I know he keeps a small wooden carving that Lulu made him a while ago, but as far as constantly, not really sure besides that.
Can Lulu make another one of those?
Lulu can make that, yeah.
How quickly?
Or even a loon illusion of it? I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to loophole something here. If it's something that I'm familiar with, something I've seen before, I can locate it. So if I've seen at least what Lulu's made, and if we're within like 1,000 feet of it, I can find it. I can find that. I can find Rhodey.
Took a while to make, can't make it right now. Can describe to you?
Yeah. Describe it to me.
Describe to Lark. Well, it's small.
How small?
Lulu's small.
That's still, I mean, you're like what, 2 foot tall? That's still pretty big. Do you
It's
have
like-
a concept of size?
It's like 2 inches at most in diameter, but it's like circular, round.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since she made it. It's like, I think it's a carving of like a cobalt-like head, but like with dragon wings. I think it's a dragon. Just
You think. I'm gonna need like very specifics if I'm gonna have a chance of locating this.
Bradford will pull out like a little piece of like cloth from her bag and like take some charcoal from the fire and like hand it to Lulu to draw out what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And Lulu will do her best to draw it, but it looks very rudimentary, like a 4-year-old made it in human years. It looks like a dragon with a giant head and big old wings, but the rest of it a tiny little body. All curled up on top on the little thing on the wood.
If we can get in a general area where Rhodey might be, I can try a couple times to use this spell I know, and I might be able to locate him if he's somehow blocked from us or buried. And he doesn't necessarily have to be dead to be buried. I just want to clarify. Could be buried alive. Totally a possibility. Shit, he could be super alive and just 1,000 feet away, and I can find him if he has this object. super alive, just so full of life.
You're making it worse. Please stop.
It hurts to say these things.
You're making it worse. Please stop.
I know. I'm so sorry. I cough up a bit of blood because just saying life so much.
Bryson proceeds to put Lulu in her bag and just like tuck her into the bag quietly. There. Just stop saying death, please.
I'm not. I'm saying alive.
You're implying death.
Just so full of not.
Vitality.
Yes. Just so full of blood and organs that are working properly.
You hear a very muffled screech from within the bag.
Well, they're inside of him and they're all functioning and he has all of his limbs and it's just so great.
Does Rhodey have spell casting abilities?
I honestly don't know. It's been a while.
If he were
He
going
knows
to,
alchemy. That's all I know.
if he were going to leave I don't know, a mark or a message for us, what might he do?
I'm really not sure about that. I've never seen him do that before. Like, I honestly couldn't tell you. I'm not sure.
I mean, he might think someone would come looking for him, so he might want to leave a mark that you might understand, but his pursuers, it wouldn't mean anything to them. Is there I don't know, a family seal or, I don't know, something you all talked about a lot that would be meaningful to you and to no one else? That might be something we could look for.
I'm really not sure. Let me sleep on it. I can't remember right now. Lulu might know, but I don't think she's in the mood to talk right now.
Is it because I talked about the organs?
Just,
Or was it the blood part?
I'm gonna go clear it now.
Oh, and last I saw him, all his organs seemed to be intact.
You see?
Bryce walked away towards the pot and starts cleaning up dinner with the bag on her hip.
It has grown. It has grown dark. While you all were chatting away the evening.
His arm was broken, but I wouldn't consider that to be an organ, really.
No, not really. Because the organs are more like central. Limbs are important, though. But it's not his leg, so he could run away.
Yeah,
So that's good.
he was certainly doing that.
Oh, you see? Spry, full of
He
pizzazz.
wouldn't go that far. Sort of stumbling, frantic kind of movement.
Like a shamble?
Yeah, like a shamble.
No. Well, shambling's not as frantic.
Kind of a shimmy and a shamble.
Or like, are we talking like a trot? Or a ludicrous speed?
No, it was more like a stumble, trying not to fall over your feet kind of
You okay, Ezra?
scurry.
Wonderful.
It's nice to meet you, by the way.
You as well. We should talk about Watchers. I don't. think sleeping without watches right now is a good idea.
I mean, I know like the general time, but out of character, I totally thought you would like wristwatches. I got really confused. Sorry. Scratch that. Lark did not.
It is a wristwatch. What is that device?
Wait. Pocket watches probably exist in D&D, yeah? Or is that like...
Artificer, so probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tie it to your wrist. It's a wristwatch.
They're sundials.
At nighttime, you're just fucked.
You need a moon dial.
I can take a watch.
I can take first or last.
I'll take whatever's closest to daylight. I can't exactly see very well in the dark.
I'll take first watch.
Right as Bryphon is emptying the remnants of the soup, Lulu pops out of the bag. Mint leaf! Brody like mint leaf. Brody might leave behind mint leaf drawing. Or burn on tree, maybe.
Something we can look for.
He does love Mother's tea, which is always meant that could be something that would be familiar enough.
That's something we can look for tomorrow. And I'll take whatever watch needs to be taken, whenever you need me.
So it sounds like Ezra will start, and then Bryphon, Ethan, and then Lark. That would be 4 2-hour watches, would easily afford the party the benefits of a long rest.
That sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, so it gets quiet. The wind finally dies down. It doesn't even smell like rain anymore. You just feel a different air mass, and if anything, it feels like it may have warmed up a little bit. It's quiet. The clouds are breaking up, so you can see the twinkle of stars. Anyone who's familiar with the constellations would recognize as the clouds pass over, then open your view to the heavens. All you hear on your watch, Ezra, is just a gentle breeze in the grass. And it's not even late enough summer that the crickets and night insects are really going at it yet. It's still not quite midsummer. And your 2 hours passes very quietly.
I'll wake up the next person and then I'm turning in.
Yeah, so Bryphon and Lulu. I assume Lulu's going to be up for this with Bryphon.
Lulu's snoring in the pack, but Bryphon's up.
Okay. Yeah, so Ezra, you were listening to the faint sounds, occasionally maybe not faint, of Lulu snoring in the bag. And Bryphon goes off, and I assume you just kind of let the fire burn down? Or did you put it out, or...
Ezra would have added the odd log just to keep it going low.
Okay, yeah. Bryphon, when she sees that everyone's settled in, she actually hears the same thing that Ezra heard. It's pretty quiet. The occasional rustling of the grass. And it's a peaceful 2 hours for Bryphon.
Bryphon will also continue to stoke the fire a bit.
So you rouse Ethan from his slumber.
Yes.
Ethan, it is your watch.
I don't ever want to imagine Ethan aroused by anything ever.
Shit, sorry.
That is a horrible image.
Man, do we need to take a break?
Uh,
So Ethan, Bryphon comes over and wakes you up. It's quiet and very dark
okay.
and very quiet and very
Not
dark.
sexy at all.
No.
Ethan, wake up.
You'd swear you could hear a gnat breathing if one were doing so within 20 feet of you. It's just quiet. Dead calm. Quiet enough that you can hear when a mosquito flies close. I hate that sound. And your watch also passes uneventfully. And you can awaken Lark.
And I will do that.
So Lark, about halfway through your watch, you start to see in the eastern sky the familiar fingers of pink. First it's a little like a whitish gray, and then it goes through the change of hue, and the whole eastern sky just lights up the color of fire and flame as a beautiful, beautiful sunrise greets your eyes as your party mates sleep the remainder of the night away. And you too have an uneventful watch, other than a spectacular sunrise.
Clark is just gonna sit there and hear the internal voice of Solana yelling at them for literally everything they've done since coming into existence in this group.
Nice.
And they're just gonna, like, quietly, while on watch, being like, yep. Mm-hmm. I know. They didn't want to hear it. I said alive. What if he's dead? Like, they're just gonna be talking to themselves really quietly.
Ezra, roll perception. Pretty please.
Okay, 1 second. I apparently need to restart my browser because my D&D Beyond just went to shit.
Critical
Black
failure.
dragon appears.
Rolled a 1. Not a black dragon. 6 black dragons.
14.
14, yeah. You hear this muttering as your eyes kind of flutter open. You realize the sun has come up. And you hear Lark having a heated debate, almost as if they're being scolded, kind of defending themselves. As you kind of wake up and you look over there, and there's Lark just as was described.
Lark, who's yelling at you?
Solana.
Thank you, Solana. Don't roll back over.
I guess this is why she likes you so fucking much.
Everybody likes me. I'm a goddamn treat.
I can respect that. As also a treat. From 110 to another. I get it.
Nice. All right, and that's where we're going to take a quick break. Let's take, it's 8:27, so we'll come back around 8:32 and take a quick 5-minute bio break. So we will see you all very, very shortly. All right, we're back from break. I feel so refreshed. Very nice. Okay, so you are on your way to the Mere of Dead Men. You're probably an hour and a half to 2 hours from the northeastern edge of the swamp. You're probably a half to a mile east of the high road, the main trade road that runs all up and down the northern Sword Coast. Closest largest cities, you're probably, I have to look, I don't have the map up anymore, but somewhere in the neighborhood of halfway-ish between Neverwinter and Waterdeep. You're probably a little closer to Neverwinter up here. It's a bright sunny morning. It is cleared out. It has that feel of a warm day. The clouds are all but gone. It's early, maybe 7:30 as you wake up. The horses are right there near you. And it's the next day. What would you like to do?
I guess I should wake people up. I'm gonna take out my shield, put it outstretched in one arm, mace in the other.
Oh god, no.
Boom. And that's how I'm gonna wake everyone up. Big just clang.
Yeah, so you all hear a loud crash, the crash of metal thumping against, I'm assuming, wood and banded metal. Yes, Ezra.
Ezra's mercenary training will kick in. She's on her feet with her sword pointed at Solana.
Lark.
Lark.
Good morning, recruits.
What that?
I'm drowning you in that bog.
Don't threaten me with a good time, Ezra.
Good to know both of us will enjoy it.
Consent is important.
Ezra, get ready to leave.
This is a fun group.
Yeah, a little dark tonight. Okay, yeah. So you have no trouble breaking camp, and you can easily get back on your mounts and make your way southwest in the direction of the road. Again, it's a beautiful sunny day. Birds are out. You ride through some trees on your way. And after probably, half an hour, you reach the high road. It's rutted. It's pocked. It's got puddles from the rain last night. Yes.
Right before they had left, Lulu will say something like, Lark should turn back to cilantro. Cilantro nicer.
Lark's just gonna shrug and be like, she's busy.
Cilantro no wake up with giant sound.
Giant sound effectively woke up whole group. We are on a time crunch.
And really, they all have their quirks, so.
You don't know the half of it.
Cilantro also not talk about death so much. This is very true.
So where you're going to enter or cross or arrive at the high road is probably about 5 miles southeast of Leylon, a small town just north of Murder Lane, Mere of the Dead Men. I think, Toblin advised you to avoid any kind of contact or being seen on the road if at all possible. Don't go into Leylon. Just get out there and get back. Go on about your business. And again, the road looks very well used, compacted clay. It's got potholes and wagon ruts, and they're all full of water from the rainy day. But it's so hard packed that it's not really muddy. When it's one of those kind of roads. And it runs right and left. Right goes vaguely northwest, left goes to the southeast. And you do recall your conversation in the inn 2 nights ago with Callum, saying that she felt like she remembers encountering the redheaded youth where the high road is closest to the edges of the swamp, which would be probably a couple of hours ride, or well, you're on horses, so probably about an hour's ride if you move along to the southeast, and then the swamp will be on your right on the south. The road kind of bends even further east as you head in that direction. So that would be, based on your recollection of the conversation with Callum, probably your best place direction to head to get started. Is that what you would like to do?
I think we should head that way.
Mm-hmm.
While they're doing that, Lulu will just be, she's still in the bag, but she's just peeking out, looking for the kind of sign Mint leaf.
But what if mint just naturally grows around here? Are you going to take that as a sign, or are you looking for like a symbol of mint leaf?
Like a symbol of mint leaf.
Okay.
Okay, so you make your way in the direction of Waterdeep, south, and then the road slowly bends, more to the east. It's mid-morning, say 9:30, and you see in the distance on the road a number of figures, some horses towing maybe carts and wagons. A couple of the wagons look to be covered. They're a few hundred yards from meeting you. They're coming towards you as you amble along or trot along quickly on your mounts. You can easily see that they're coming in your direction.
How far away are they?
Probably 300-400 yards.
Lean over to the group, or try to speak loud enough to just the group can hear, and just say, should we pull off the road and let them pass?
Yes. I think that's wise.
I mean, we could ask them if they've seen Ginger Dude with a broken arm, right? Shouldn't we? What if they've seen Rhodey?
No,
I recommend that if we can.
let's get a look at them first. See who
Yeah.
they are.
And I'll just lead the horses over to the side of the road, like we're giving them way.
Okay. Yeah. On the southwest side of the road, it's more level. And you can already see in the distance, a couple miles off, the dark. It looks like just a dark wall or dark line, kind of jagged. You would assume that might be the tree line that marks the start of Murdelane. On the left side of the road, the northeast side of the road, you can see in the distance, just a few miles, within 3-4 miles, the foothills of the very western end of the Sword Mountains. And you recall that, somewhere in those mountains is the dwarven excavation. You're not incredibly far from there. You remember you came in this general direction when you went to go meet with the dwarves. And the road kind of drops off on that side and then slopes up. There are some trees, shrubs. It's almost like the road itself is like a boundary between two different ecologies. On the southwest side, it's green, it's more lush, it's grassy. And on the north side, the road drops away down kind of a little bit of a gully, and it becomes hard scrabble hill and foothill of mountains pretty quickly. And there are more trees on the northeast side, excuse me. Probably going to be better cover over there, where it's kind of flat grassland all the way to the edge of the swamp on the southwest side.
I'm not exactly the friendliest looking. Who should talk to them?
I am so charming.
No.
I can turn into someone so charming.
You and Bryphon go. Bryphon, you can describe him. Keep and I'll put my arm and lean over for Lulu's like, come sit with me for a little while.
Fine. We'll jump over to Ezra's, of course.
Just put Lulu up on her shoulder.
To curl up on there, all tiny.
So you're going to leave Lark and Bryphon on the road?
We're not moving far away from them. Basically, we're just giving them enough space to talk.
Are you going to try to hide from the approaching
not at all.
group?
We're just moving back, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm treating it as if like the road isn't that wide, so we're taking our horses off the road to give them way, but by being polite. But those two will stay up there and just to be hospitable.
Yeah, and as they approach, you can tell that they're currently utilizing the entire road. It looks like some sort of a caravan. Ezra, you're very familiar with these things, having been a mercenary for a number of years, and it definitely, as they approach, looks like some form a group with wagons, horses, humanoids, and. So yeah, after a very brief time, you can see very clearly, especially Bryphon and Lark. Lark, are you still Lark?
Oh yeah, Lark's not changing.
Okay, very good. So you're standing there, or maybe you're just strolling, nonchalantly toward them, and you start to be able to make out features in that. And you notice that the majority of the humanoids you can see are shorter and stockier and more stout than some of the other humanoids. There are a number of horses. You start to count wagons, carts. Maybe there are 10 or so. 3 of the wagons are covered. And as they approach, they slow, and you hear a gruff voice, "Whoa there, horsies! No, just wait there." And a dwarf approaches. He's in a chain shirt, leather pants, short sword, hammer on his back, long white hair braided, beard braided, tucked in. I mean, just absolute classic. Dwarf comes up, and you see Ezra, roll me perception. You see a human and 2 half orcs clad in chainmail armor. They have long swords. The orcs look like maybe they might have an axe each strapped to their backs. The human has a shield, plain wooden, banded with iron. "Hey there! Morning to y'all. How be doing today?"
Good morning. Is the dwarf approaching on foot or on horseback?
Everyone is on foot. The horses are all draft animals. Ezra, you're confident this is likely a merchant caravan. Yeah. How far behind Lark and Bryphon is the party?
I wouldn't put myself more than 20 feet. I would like to say 10 to 15.
Okay.
Again, just enough to give them pass.
Yeah, from your...
Bryphon,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, Bryphon will get down from her horse and just hold onto the reins, just like respect versus just like up on a horse.
Yeah, especially for a dwarf. It's a much further distance. And especially as tall as Bryphon is, even as an elf. Hey, beautiful morning on the road, yeah. What are you making for?
We're just traveling along. I have a question for you. I'm wondering if you've seen someone.
Oh, yeah, we've seen a lot of people on the road. Hey, my name is Gamid Stonebane.
Bryphon, Ireson.
Pleased to make your acquaintance and your group. And he kind of looks around. Seems pretty amiable. I don't know how familiar any of you might be with dwarves, but these are they seem to be. And he's got 2 other dwarves with him. They're dressed in again chain shirts, but fine traveling clothes, cloaks. They look to be I don't know, well-to-do isn't the right word, but they look like they're not making any, having any issues making rent payments.
Yeah. Um, yes. I'm not sure if you know the name Ireson, but we're looking for someone by that name, that surname. Um,
I don't know. We're from way, way to the north, up in Ten Towns area, actually.
hmm, well, he's probably more recognizable by look than name, to be
Oh,
honest.
I,
Um, very tall human, uh, very bright red hair, a lot of it.
I,
Uh, he's got like blue eyes, but I'm looking for him.
oh, I see. Is he an old man or a young, middle? What do you
I
know
don't know.
there,
He looks
age-wise?
similar age to me. Like I suppose for a human, older teens, young adult,
Oh, so
but
yeah,
very
just
tall.
a, just a whip switch then. Yeah, I see. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
very good. So red hair, you say, with the blue eyes, and tall. And what's he like? Is he a warrior? Is he what? Does he? Is he some kind of priest? What is his deal there?
Uh, he's a bit stocky. He's an alchemist, so he's not quite about fighting, but um, he's just he's the tallest human you'll probably
He
see
puts his hand.
miles
Oh, he's
around.
a softy, squishy one. That one is, yeah. Oh, I hope he wasn't on the road by himself. This is no place for a squishy bookworm now, is it, boys? And they all kind of laugh and whatnot. Ezra, roll me perception again.
What I heard.
And you can hear this guy's not speaking quietly. Typical dwarf. What's that?
20.
Yeah. Obviously, your ear perked up at 10 Towns. And you recognize the there's like an emblazoned on one of the wagon coverings, and you recognize it as the Onyx Fall merchant group from the Ten Towns area. Jathan Oxenfall is a name you're familiar with, as a merchant, a trader. But the 20 also affords you the ability, you recognize one of the half orcs, and this is a person, and you notice you recognize them because you see them staring you down, like curiously, not aggressively. You know the difference, but he's looking at you like, oh, you look familiar to me, and you recognize this is Gungar's Shieldred. This is a mercenary you served with. In fact, you last saw him in the incident where things didn't go well and things happened. And you recognize him. And you haven't seen him since then.
Ezra will move her horse forward so that she's on the other side of Lark.
Morning to you then. Is this your entire group then? And Gamed just kind of seems to be the spokesman. The other two dwarves have not maybe come quite as far forward. In fact, they have kind of stepped behind the human and the two half-orcs as the most challenging member of your party from a combat perspective steps up next to Lark.
I'll look down at him. Good morning, good sir. I know your company. I've taken part in them a few times.
Oh, do you know? And he kind of thumbs back at Onyx Fall. Ah, yeah. Finest ale in the 10 Towns. Yeah, we just delivered a load of that now down to Waterdeep. I'll have you know we fetch a fine bit of coin on that one. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'd
good.
say
Good.
it's been quite a few years since I was there. Tell me, does I can't remember the name of the main town, the walled town. So I'm gonna pretend I said that word. Can
That's
you
the
tell
word,
me
yes.
if the blacksmith, if the smithy's still standing down by the west gate?
Oh, yes. Things are in order in 10 Towns, for sure. Yep. Absolutely.
Good to know the old
Yeah.
place hasn't collapsed.
We're anxious to get back there now. You know, we've been gone quite a long time.
And I won't greet Gundrick, but I'll just basically after that just stare at him too.
He, Bryn Shander, I think is what you're looking for. Is that right?
Yes, thank you.
He regards you and he kind of turns his head. You there. You look familiar to me. Do I? Clearly you're good with the blade. Comfortable in combative situations. He kind of chuckles. Where do I know you from?
Well, last time you saw me, I'm pretty sure you were dead.
His eyes get really big. Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Ezralin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you. I'm not dead.
Good to know.
Yeah. He steps forward and offers you the typical, very happy to see you, clasps your arm.
Is he wearing any regalia or a medallion or anything of a particular company, or is he actually like wearing their stuff?
He's just there. No regalia, no heraldry, nothing of the sort.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she'll reach over, give him a hearty handshake, and I say, "You're not running with the old lot, are you?"
No. After that all took place, I needed to slow things down a little bit. And he kind of looks around, and Gamid kind of, "Hey, that you did, lad. Yeah, and good thing you done so, cause you done right by us, and we done right by you now, haven't we, boy?" And he kind of smiles and nods.
Hmm.
Yes, Lulu, Bryphon, whoever you are.
This time. When he comes forward to Ezra, can Lulu like perk up and lean forward a bit and try to see if she can get Rhodey's scent off of this guy?
Okay. How about a survival? No, that's perception. That's definitely perception. Are you visible when you do this?
Yeah.
She's sitting on my shoulder, so.
Oh, well, shoot. That's right. I keep thinking she's in the sack. Is that a
17.
kobold on your shoulder?
Yes, this is Lulu. She's a valuable member of our party.
The big half-orc who doesn't tower over Ezra, but it's a little larger. 3-4 inches. Kind of leans in real close and winks at you, Lulu, and offers his hand to shake your hand. Well, it's good to meet you there, little one.
All Lulu will do is kind of climb forward on Ezra's arm and just sniff his hand and then recoil back. But she rolled a 17.
Yeah. You don't get any scent other than dust and travel and what you would expect. It's probably been a few days since they left Waterdeep, and you smell smoke and BO and stale beer. Yeah.
Hello. She'll go back onto Ezra's shoulder and curl up again.
He kind of leans back. Well, Ezra, golly, it's good to see you. Glad you're well.
Yeah. And she'll Lulu, go back with your sister for a couple of minutes.
Lulu will jump over to Bryphon.
And she'll just kind of do that to the half-orc and pull probably go 20 feet away, just basically just out of earshot.
Okay. Yeah, he'll go with you. Absolutely.
I didn't really stick around. How many are left? Do you know?
Yeah. 3 of us got out of there. We thought you were lost. Haven't seen you since then.
Yeah.
What happened?
It backfired. That idiot. He was trying to make himself into a lich. We got the direct blow. You guys caught the tail end of it. But nobody that was in with me made it out except for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
We thought you didn't make it. I'm
there
glad to
wasn't
see
much
it.
left of anybody else.
Nobody holds you responsible for that. You need to know that. You were doing
Oh.
your job. Things
I
happen.
didn't really want to stick around after that, you know.
Understandable.
Your entire band, well, most of them killed. So
Yeah, understandable.
I'm while he's talking, I'm keeping an eye on him. I'm looking for the same type of scars that I have.
You don't see them. He looks like he's been through his share of scrapes, but you don't. They're not those distinctive veining like you have.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell happened in there?
Like I said, that old bugger. We had been guarding them for a year, and we never knew. None of us fucking knew. And I wonder if the captain did. You know, we know he was shady, but I don't know.
Hmm.
But I watched Marcus and shit, the little kid. I can't think of his name. I shouldn't forget his name.
Aaron.
Aaron, thank you. He got them first. And it was a bad setup. But we got him. Put enough blades into him and he couldn't complete the ritual.
Right. It's sad to lose so many good sword arms.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're okay.
Anyone ever clear the site?
They sealed everything up, everything that was inside, and they cleaned away everything that was outside. A bunch of priests came in. At that point, I'm paid. I'm alive. I'm out of there. I don't want to be around for that mumbo jumbo. Kind of rolls his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know who did the work. So where do you keep yourself? As you can see, I'm still gainfully employed. And he kind of jingles a pouch at his side.
Working a party in Fandolin. They were looking for sword hands, and I'm not looking at being on the road too much anymore.
Yeah, nice. Fandolin. I've never been out there. I've heard of it. Kind of a newer settlement.
It's a frontier town starting up.
Yeah.
Figured I might as well give this whole settling down thing a try.
He kind of shakes his head. Oh, we could always use another good sword arm. I know I can count on you in a pinch, and you know the merchants company we're with and where we're out of. So if you're ever up in the Shander again, you might look us up. Nothing else will tip back a tankard or two.
The dwarf said Bronze is still operating. Bronze blacksmith.
Oh yeah, yep.
Who took it over?
New family of dwarves come down out of the hills. They know Onyx Fall, so they're kind of part of the company now. Yeah, in fact, we just brought a bunch of weapons and armor, a bunch of nice forgings down to Waterdeep, and it's provisions like normal provisions for winter. You know,
I don't think I told you. It's my father's place. My father was Braun. He owned that blacksmith shop.
I didn't know that.
That's why I'm asking. Who?
Yeah.
I was raised there.
Well, I had no idea. Well, it's in good hands now. These dwarves won't ever pass up a shiny bit of metal or anything, but they're not gonna. Well, they won't kill for money. Kind of chuckles.
Good to know.
Better be on your game when you're dealing with them. But they're a decent lot. They pay well.
I might take you up on that offer.
Yeah.
Someday, when this is done. I'm not sure whole settling down thing's right for me, but I figured I'll give it a try.
He
20 years on the road, you know?
kind of claps you on the shoulder. Oh, I know. We run about every 3 weeks. We run down out of 10 towns, and we're on the road for probably gone for a couple of months. So
Good to know. And she'll give him a slap on the shoulder back, and be a little bit awkward and just say, "Ride safe," and then she'll just head back over to her friends.
he kind of stands there thinking a little bit as you walk back over to the party. Meanwhile, Gomet, Stonebane, just standing there talking to the party. So where are you going, if you don't mind my asking?
As I said, we're looking for my brother.
Oh, that's right. That's your whole point then. Okay, I thought maybe just you were wondering where. Yeah, so okay, tall human, red hair, blue eyes,
Broken arm.
squishy. Oh, he's got a broken arm, you say? Squishy like that one. And he points at Ethan, kind of snorts. Hey, yeah, I haven't seen him. Haven't seen him.
Not quite.
Nope. Any of you boys seen him? They're all like, nope. Haven't seen him.
Well, if you happen to see someone like that, tell him to come home.
Hey, where's if you don't mind my asking, where might home be?
I'm not sure if I have to say or not. I don't know what Beth would say or not.
You do have a home, don't you, lassie?
Do these people seem trustworthy or like scummy?
Roll an insight. They're clean. Yeah, they smell like they've been on the road for several days, but they're not like gross. Their wagons are in good repair. The horses seem to be well taken care of. Everyone's got travel worn, but you know, better than beggar clothing. You know, average to above average traveling clothes. Weapons all look to be in good shape, well made. There's a total of, if you're kind of curious, probably 30, 40 of these mountain dwarves and 8 mercenaries, 3 humans and 5 half-orcs.
Bryson rolled a 10.
Okay. I mean, you get the sense that this guy's pretty straightforward. You don't feel any malevolence. He's looking you in the eye. He seems outgoing and friendly. Doesn't seem to be hiding anything.
If it means anything, and Ezra's been friendly to them.
Yeah, Ezra kind of wandered off with one of the mercenaries to have a conversation.
Tell him to return home to Fandolin.
Hey, Fandolin. All right, then. Yep. Oh, you're not too far from there now, then. Yeah, okay. Well, hopefully you find the chap. Hopefully he's not in any trouble. You know, are you sure he's out here by himself? That doesn't seem like a good idea. I mean, you see the numbers we're running here.
For this one's sake, points to Lulu on her shoulder, I hope not.
Hey, all right then. Family's
Well,
important.
If he was by himself, wouldn't that be good? Because we're pretty sure someone's chasing him.
Hey, safety in numbers there, lassie. And he kind of looks you over. Are you from Fandolin as well?
I'm from a lot of places.
Aye, I see. I ain't never seen a person look like you do, but you seem awful friendly enough, you know. Don't want to judge a tome by its cover, you know, as they say. Them learned people, and he kind of nods at Ethan.
Oh yeah, the fancy people with literacy and book knowledge. Can't trust them
Them's
as far as
ones.
you can throw them.
Aye, now you're talking. Yeah, very good. You know the ones.
Yeah.
Are you provisioned? Do you need any supplies or anything? We're well loaded coming back from Waterdeep. Heading back to Bryn Shander. We got food, we got weapons. Of course, you all look pretty well off there now. Look like you've seen some action, maybe.
Not yet.
Or maybe you're looking for some.
Why, do you want to fight?
No. No need for it to come to that now.
Oh, but that's so much fun.
Well, I won't say I've ever shied away, but that's not our business this time around. How long you been on the road looking for this, lad?
A day now?
Aye, okay. Straight from Fenelon then.
Yeah.
Aye. Well, we if there's nothing else, we got to be on our way, so we should leave you to your search and wish you all the best.
Good day to you then.
Did they leave with are they coming back empty, or are they?
No, they look to be loaded. You know, some of the wagons you can see there are crates. Some of them are marked. I don't know what the heck they would take up there. Probably
Food and supplies, that sort of thing.
food and
most likely.
supplies. Yeah, stuff like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know,
Just as a
typical stuff that ships out of 10 towns. Of course, is the scrimshaw, furs, whalebone stuff, ore, copper, gems. You know, I mean, you can
Okay.
tell by the number that they're traveling with, and the number of very well armed. You can, sizing up these mercenaries and knowing Gungars. They're moving some value.
I'll nod my head respectfully.
Hi then. Well, if you don't mind, then we'll just we'll be making our way. We wish you all the best and safe journey. I hope we find your friend. Yeah. Gungar's kind of waves at you, makes eye contact again. Everyone, don't forget, we're in Shander. I'm buying.
I'll take you up on that.
And the other guys kind of look at him like some guys look at a guy who's met a gal. They all kind of look at him, and he turns and just stares them down, and they stop immediately.
Lark is just going to be like, ooh.
Yeah, he puts a stop to those. Like, not that he is reviled by the idea, but that he's not having them objectify you that way. He's like,
I was gonna shout over and say, "You haven't got to worry about anything. I've seen him shit in the woods more than once."
yep, that's Ezra, all right. Mm-hmm. He kind of laughs. That she has, man. And you've seen it too, so he kind of...
You sound unimpressed.
Couple of the
It was a weird looking
teamsters,
place.
couple of the teamsters on the front wagon snap the reins, and the caravan begins to move. You're thankful it rained, because with 10 wagons, 3 of them being full heavy wagons, full-sized heavy wagons, a couple of carts, even towing a few mules behind, and this crowd would have raised quite a dust. And so you're glad that it rained last night. And they amble on their way. The Onyx Fall Merchant Company, emblazoned on the side of some of the wagons. You can see it now as you watch them roll by, and you see on the tarping that covers the covered wagons, you see their logo. Okay.
That's a good.
Good.
I'll just say in kind of like a distracted sort of way. It's not a bad group of people. They're fairly honorable. Don't really fuck people over in their deals. My father used to make blades, and he'd put scrimshaw as the handles. He sent more than one down through with that company.
What's scrimshaw?
It's carving into bone or ivory.
That sounds metal.
It's pretty badass. Ezra, you'll see Ezra pull up her bag and dig right through it. And she'll actually pull out a dagger about that long. And the handle is it's kind of like an eating dagger, an eating knife more so than like a dagger, a dagger. Um, and she'll just flip it out and show you the handle, and it's actually carved with flowers instead of the usual imagery.
Hey guys, if I die, can you make sure they carve cool stuff into my bones?
Guarantee that.
We will make jerky of you. Promise.
You don't get to eat me. I thought we had this whole thing.
No do make no promises.
All right, so they make their way north and west. You're facing southeast. As you look and as you make your way on your horses further southeast, you see the line of the swamp, the trees, the dark. I mean, it's dark, a dark forest, marching closer and closer until you're almost to a point where you're probably just a couple hundred yards. The road is still kind of southeast. Again, to your left, the mountains have marched even closer to the road. There's still that big gully and then up, pine trees, rocky. And then on the southwest side, that you could see now, the darkness of the land. It's flat from the road, a little bit patch of grass, and then you're only a couple hundred yards from the entrance to the swamp. And it's, some stands of tall, dark trees. Some places there aren't as many trees, but it's still dark. It just looks like a foreboding. And this is a beautiful, bright, sunny day. You don't see any birds flying in the direction of the swamp, but you do notice circling out over the swamp an occasional large, dark, really large and really dark bird kind of circling almost on the updrafts. What do they call those? Thermals?
Might be a buzzard. That's never a good sign.
I just clap and rub my hands together. I'm like, finally, some territory I am familiar with.
The closest the swamp comes to the road is probably about 200 yards. And as you're moving along, and it's on your right, you see a break where there are trees, no trees, and then trees again, in the kind of the wall of the swamp. And there's actually a track. Looks like it's been trodden, maybe a few wagons, but it's a narrow track that leads off the road and in the direction southwest toward this break in the trees.
Are we near where our contact kind of described what was going on?
Yeah, Ethan, in fact, you've been right through here on the high road from Waterdeep on your way up to Phandalin, and you recognize this area and kind of thinking to yourself, like, oh, that's weird, like the swamp almost has an entrance. And this is, from your travels, this is where the swamp runs right along the high road. For a while, it does this. And you know that it doesn't get any closer. So this has got to be, remember she said, pretty close to where the road and the swamp start to come away from each other, where the road is still close to the swamp. So you feel like, man, this is as good of a place as any to start looking.
This is probably the location she saw him, or we're very close to it.
You recall that the swamp is sort of egg-shaped, narrower at the top, the north and south, and bulging about 2/3 of the way up, and the road just follows it right along, goes around that bulge, and then down near Thornhold, the road starts to hug the coast, because the Sword Mountains, there's another range of Sword Mountains that march right near the coast, and the road is up against the mountains and the coast. So, the road follows the border or the edge of the swamp for some ways. And you remember seeing a similar break in the tree line, the hedgerow, if you will, of the swamp, down in the southern end as well. by now it's probably close to midday, noontime.
Well, what do you all want to do?
I suppose I could. I mean, this is probably where she last saw them, right? So I could try finding that thing that Lulu made him. See if he's close by.
Far away. How far away can you detect it?
I mean, it's been a while since I've had to do this. It's 1,000 feet. It's not very far, but it's not like right next to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it a shot. I can only do it so many times a day, so.
Maybe we should check this area to see if there's any signs that he was here. I know it rained and tracks might be hard to find, but maybe we can find something before we decide to use your ability.
Sure.
Does mint grow naturally in this area?
Not in the swamp. Your guess is that you would probably likely find it more in the hills or the grasslands, but not in the swamp. And the story, the legend of the Mirror of Dead Men is, there's probably not much wholesome that grows there because of its story.
Bryphon, you want to take a quick look around to see if anything catches your eye?
Sure.
Or Lulu? You know him, we don't.
Could both of them try?
Sure. I mean, Lulu could be right with Bryphon. Whatever you want to do. What would you like to do? You're basically, on the road. You see this kind of trail or track that winds its way through the grasslands in the direction of the opening in the trees. That's what you got.
Bryphon, I don't know how to do that on the character sheet. Bryphon will try to see if she can find anything that looks like Bird's footsteps.
Okay.
And we'll try to sniff out as much as a kobold can.
Okay, let's start with nature, and have her roll with a +3.
Bryphon or Lulu?
Bryphon. I don't know. Whoever's got the better one is, however you want to do it.
Well, Lulu has better nature.
Okay. You got it then.
21 for Lulu.
Okay. Yeah. You can, Lulu can easily tell that there has been footfall in the grass in this track. Some boot prints appear to be, were made when the soil is quite soft and are hardened in. Like they've been there quite a while. It's damp, but not muddy. But it does look like this is a track that's been trod upon.
Does the size of the print look like roadie sized?
Based on the age, the soil has been dried out. It's like in clay almost. So you would guess that track was probably made in the springtime when everything was much wetter, when there was more rain. It looks that old. It looks like it's been there through, a few months.
So Lulu can't find any kind of scent from roadie?
Now you can roll me investigation.
Not 2024.
Yeah. So she, I don't know, what does it look like when she's trying to locate the scent?
Like a dog, typical dog type thing, sniffing the ground, sniffing the air, sniffing everywhere she can sniff.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
Maybe
not
my
picking.
dignity.
She's not picking up a scent, but as she gets closer and looks, it definitely looks like there's been footfall down this trail, um, based on the fact that there are more freshly broken grass blades and such, um, and it looks like maybe a group of people have been down this trail. But it's grass, so you don't really get a sense of footprint size and shape, or even direction. But there's been people through here within, you'd guess, at least a week. Some of the grass is broken and not completely dead and dry. If that makes
So
sense.
there's no definitive trail through the grass, but there's
No
definitely
footprints other than what's been kind of caked in the few dirt spots that are bare.
But can't you tell which way the grass is like which way they went? No.
It looks like the grass has been stepped on from the center of the trail out. So if the grass is this way, it's been snapped like that. But it's impossible to tell what direction the travel was, just up and down the track.
Okay.
Yeah, someone's been through here. They've either come or gone or both. And if you had to guess with that roll, was it 21?
It was a nat 20 plus
Nat
1.
20? Okay, so yeah, you would have to guess that it's been within a week that there's been travel on this track.
Okay, Lulu will convey that information to the group.
Yeah, someone's been through here.
Lulu not know which way, but someone be here. Been here.
When you look into the Mer de Lane, does it, I know it's a swamp, but I think just when Ethan thinks back to his vision, he remembers seeing him in kind of a forested area.
Yeah.
Would that be consistent? Could that be consistent with that swamp?
Sure. It's a good
Like
question.
nature?
Yeah. You have seen, because you've followed this track now for a few miles, the high road along, and gotten closer and closer to the swamp. And you've seen stands of big dark trees, like forest, dense. You've seen thinner stands of trees. You've seen what looks to be wetlands, like tall grass, with no trees. So you've seen kind of the full gamut. You don't see you don't see a lot of like pine, like evergreen trees, unless you look at the dead ones, right? Like the dead trunks. Like if you ever seen an area that's been burned by forest fire, that kind of, you see in a few stands of those, they were probably pine or fir. But a lot of it's dark deciduous. Some of the areas got mosses and vines hanging. It's quite possible that part of this could have been the backdrop for your vision somewhere in here.
And we're at an entrance, kind of like an entrance to this swamp.
That's what it looks like. From where you are at the road, looking at the track, a couple 100 yards down, it kind of winds through the grass into this. It's an opening in the trees. Like right now, this area, for quarter mile in either direction along the road is forested. And there's a break, an opening.
I want to look around that opening, and especially the trees and the trunks and places where you might be able to carve something into
Okay.
a tree and see if I can find
Yeah.
anything.
So, and again, you guys are out at the road. So is everybody going to kind of head to the entrance proper?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So you make your way through, and I would assume Lulu and Bryphon are, full on, eyes peeled, and you just see signs of travel through this track. But again, it's hard to tell who, what, precisely when, and which direction. So yeah, you get to the opening, and it looks like these trees are pretty old and large, big around, oaks, elms. Elms are just all trunk, and then there's branches closer to the top, 50, 60, sometimes 70 feet high. Huge. And it almost looks like, and the trees weren't like removed. The track just goes in like a path, like almost an entrance, where there's just like, there should be a gate, this natural entrance in. And it's almost a little tunnely as you stand, that some of the trees grow over, maybe 15, 18 feet up. And it's quite dark in there. And you did notice one thing: as you get closer, the ground begins to be softer in places. So you're walking on like matted grass, and even as you get close to the entrance, in certain places where you step, you see water start to pool in your footprint. The tree trunks are gnarled. A couple of them are kind of twisty, very dark. It's not a welcoming entrance. Yeah, not at all. If you examine tree trunks, you don't see any carvings, any markings. You don't see the remnants of any gate or any kind of construction. It just looks like a natural opening in the swamp, in the forest. And you can see that the trail, for what it is, it's not paved, it's not hard pack. It's just an opening, and it proceeds in. Some of the grass is growing up through the middle of it, but it does look like there's been some traffic through here not that long ago.
There was this the urge to like just fly down that path. It's hard not to go that way.
So you're at the entrance. What would you like to do?
If we're all going in, you know what we're probably going to be walking into, so keep your eyes out, your weapons ready. Let's not get killed, huh?
What
Oh,
this
look.
this trail's not super wide, and especially with horses that have gear, you're going to kind of have to do single file, or at least the horses are. And so you could maybe go shoulder to shoulder, but you'd be scraping greenery and thornage and stuff on either side, the outside arm of each individual. But could we do like a marching order? How do you want to set that up as you start your trek into Mer de Lane?
Bryford could be first, since tracking and stuff.
I'll be behind.
So Bryfon with Lulu?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Ezra, is that right?
No, I'll go last. I want to guard everybody, so if she's
Okay.
not first, then she's last.
Gotcha.
I guess I'll go wherever because I thought I'd go last just because I have a shield for covering our asses.
I'll go behind Bryson.
Okay. And then Lark. And you're currently Lark, correct?
See?
Yes. Okay, so you enter the forest, and one thing I will give you here, let me give you a description. You see moss, vines. In some directions you can see through some tree trunks. In other directions it's almost impenetrable vegetation. It's dark, it's dank. You've noticed a smell that you picked up on the road faintly. You're like, golly, is that you? But now that you're in this thing, you've one by one it occurs to you, oh, that's where that smell's coming from. It's not a good smell. It's decayed, dead vegetation, possibly flesh, probably the scatological remains of whatever lives in here. And you're on this track, and the further you go in, even after the first 100 yards, it's spongy, squishy. Bryfon could roll survival for me, please, if you wouldn't mind.
Excuse me. Come on. 15.
15. Okay. So far she's doing a nice job of picking a path that's keeping you no more than squishing. But you can begin to see as you get a few hundred yards in, and the entrance, for a while there's this bright light behind you from the outside world. And you feel almost as if you've entered this place that's just a whole different place. The air is stifling, it's warm, it's humid. Breathing is laborious in here. It's weird. It smells bad, like organic bad. And by the once the light behind you is gone, it is dark. And you've entered a dark woods. And the trail, you can see already there are pools of water here and there where it's dry land, and then all of a sudden it looks wet, and there may be floating vegetation and reeds and things. There are trees growing right up out through the water, and the water is dark. It is black. Ugh, nasty. But so far, the first half hour in, 15 minutes in, Bryphon does a nice job of keeping everyone away from any pools of water, anything along those lines. Your horses are, you have to stay a little bit spaced out. You can't be right one behind the other because you're each leading a horse. At least I assume that's how you're doing it, unless you wish to situate yourselves differently.
Should we take the horses into this area?
I wouldn't.
They are kind of pointy creatures, so probably. Problem is I don't know where to put them. Even the edge of the swamp is dangerous.
The last thing we need is a stuck horse.
Mm.
Pointy creatures. I love it. They're gonna make holes in the swamp. Yeah. There are you're not in full on swamp. You're not slogging through muck. There are areas of dry ground. There are a few places where trees are not as dense and thick. If you were in it, it's not time to camp. Thankfully, you're all thinking, "Boy, let's get in and out of here before nightfall." But you're passing areas that could probably serve as a place to camp, dry-ish. Maybe a little raised, above and circled by some muck. So if you were to choose to park the horses there, you could find a spot where you could stake them down or tie them to trees and leave them, and they would have, they could forage a little bit, and they would be able to move around just a little bit.
I propose doing that then, Ezra.
What? I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Oh, I propose doing that, Ezra, leaving the horses among the open areas.
Good idea. You should be okay. We'll take what we can with us.
Is it dark enough for Bryphon to be utilizing her dark vision, or is still dusk type?
There's some beams that come down here and there. It's dim. It's dark sylvan dimness, but it's not like in a dungeon dark. Yeah, it's dim. You can still see one another, but it's visually, in this path you have to kind of pick your way. It's not like follow the yellow brick road, wide, paved, open, and comfortable. Roll me
it's overcast evening type.
It's greenish, gray, dank, and dim. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Roll me another survival, please.
Seven.
Yeah, so for this period of time, 2 times now, you hear Bryphon mutter something in Elvish that's probably not positive. And she stops and, you're like, well, what's the holdup? And you look and you see that she's knee deep in some muck a 3 times. Slipped off, and again, it's almost ceasing to be a trail, more than it's kind of just an area that's, it could be a game trail, as you make your way through. And so, or it'll be, she's kind of light, so maybe as Ezra crosses, what seemed to be okay for some of the other party members gets you ankle to shin deep. In some muck.
I'm swearing?
Yep, that sort of thing. So it's unpleasant, and anybody that gets into the wetness has got black ichor, soaked on their boots or their pantaloons, whatever they're wearing, below the knee. It's not awesome.
I love bugs.
And speaking of bogs, it reminds me of bugs. There are mosquitoes in here, that are bigger than what you've seen before. Deer flies. Has anyone been acquainted with deer flies? They hurt.
Yeah.
They hurt a lot when they bite. Yeah, they're not horse flies, but they're like horsefly juniors. Yeah, they hurt. Ezra, as you're walking along, you see the party kind of spreads a little bit to go around some stuff, and you amble into this soil, and you notice as you're walking along, it kind of starts to give way and soften, and it's a lot softenier than what you've been on so far, and you notice all of a sudden that you are sinking quickly to your knees, to your mid thighs, to your waist.
I'm on shaky bog. Heck.
Above your waist. So in a matter of about 20 seconds, you're waist deep. It's kind of, and it looks a little bit like soily, sandy dirt. And it's probably a good 10, 12 foot around you. So maybe 5 feet, and you're at the spoken wheel, right? 5 feet in any direction before the ground looks firmer. You appear to find yourself in a situation.
I'm just gonna go, help!
Yeah, so Lark,
is
you hear behind you.
Sprinting over to the perimeter. She's like, okay.
Don't step in. This just seems to be, help.
Just gonna take out rope really quickly and lasso it and try to
Okay.
catch
Roll me-
catch me, Ezra.
Roll me an attack roll. Use your dex bonus. And don't forget also, the party has a total of 8 plus 2s from past donations and support from 500-bit donations.
Roll. Dirty 20.
Okay. Yeah, so Ezra, the rope arrives.
I'll get a good grip on it with my, with the whole wrist thing and just
Okay.
try to pull myself in.
You are...
Yeah, and as she's pulling herself in, I'm pulling her out.
Okay. You are 6 feet in. So, chest? Because you're well over 7, aren't you?
Ezra's 6'4".
Okay. So you're
No.
you're up to your chin and arms. You've got this rope. Lark, I need a strength check.
With pleasure.
Ezra's probably starting to panic at this point. She's pretty calm up until the
No
end.
need to panic because I rolled a natural 20.
Okay. So you topped my DC 16, which is 10 plus the number of feet the creature has sunk into the quicksand. And so you begin to pull Ezra forward. And at first, part of her kind of comes out, and then she starts to just sort of plow a little bit more. And so I would say that she's, below her bust and up is out, and whatever was under, like up to your neck, is just covered in like granulated muck, clingy. Some of it like clings to your shoulder and then drops off. And Lark, as you begin to pull her, I'm going to have you make another strength check.
With extreme pleasure.
Can any of us assist?
I mean, you can always help to give her advantage.
Another natural 20.
Okay, so you've got her about halfway toward the perimeter. She's waist deep now.
Revan will come and assist.
Okay, so your next strength check is going to be with advantage. Need one more to get her to the edge.
Advantage.
With advantage, you say?
Yes.
Well, with advantage, it's 3.
Okay. Yeah, so all at once, they kind of stop. They just like, I don't know if you're dead weight, their arms are on fire. You're a large, tough, muscular half-orc. And they're dragging you through clingy, you can almost hear the vacuum. You ever like lose your shoe in the muck? Right? You can kind of feel the vacuum
Yeah.
holding on to you. And you drop another foot back in. So back up to your top of your abs, mid belly.
How close is she to the edge where I'm at?
If she were to like lay and reach, her fingers are almost to the edge. She's fairly close.
I'm I'm gonna toss the rope and grab her with my hands and yank that way.
Okay. You would have to. You would risk tipping over. Like I'm going to have you make a dex save not to tip over. If you stand right on the edge and teeter over and reach that far and then try to pull her, you're gonna have a dex
Yeah.
save.
Can Bryphon grab her hips?
Yep. Absolutely. So I won't make it a. I won't
Bryphon
penalize
grab-
your dex roll.
Black's not happy with this.
Well,
That's gonna be 16.
Okay. So you don't fall. Now give me a strength check. And I'm going to have you subtract 2 from it because you're bent over in a weird position. You can't use your full strength. But I'll let you roll it at
That's a
advantage.
17.
Okay. Because Ezra at this
Boy.
point is going to try to, free herself as well.
17.
Okay, so you get Ezra. Her elbows are now on dry land. But she's still kind of laid out in the muck. Like you can see most of her back down to her waist. And she doesn't smell very good.
I'm gonna try one final yank just to get her all the way out. Get your fat ass out of there! So strength check. Wow. Do I roll with disadvantage or anything?
No.
Okay, that's still a 19.
A what?
A 19.
19? Oh, yeah, you're fine. So you managed to pull Ezra to the point where she can get her, her thighs. She's thigh deep. She can work herself out. And Ezra, you stand and you feel like your clothes weigh like 300 pounds because they're caked and packed with this. And it's dripping off. Yeah, it's loose. So it's like on the floor, on the ground.
Like a comment. Ezra's gonna slap Lark on the shoulder with her dirty hands. Like, thank you so much. I really appreciate the help. And then with the other hand, she'll just go, "You're a good friend."
If it makes you feel any better, I meant the fat ass thing as like a compliment.
Silence.
Yeah, I got a little bit of cake.
I'm just saying, that gotta be jelly, because jam don't shake. all
so
I'm
if that had
saying.
been a natural one, we would have lost Ezra, I'm sure.
Nice.
Nah, would have been fine. Would've
You'll
been
see
fine.
Ezra concentrate a little bit, and like she's muttering underneath her breath, underneath her breath, and twiddle her fingers a little bit, and you'll see actually like a very faint, kind of weak mage hand appear, and she's just kind of using it just to scrape
Yeah.
stuff off.
Yeah. You
I
can.
know you don't like touching, but can I help?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can spend
Ooh,
about 10
assist
minutes
too.
and, almost like kind of with your blade of your hand, squeegee the heaviest muck off. Your clothes are soaked. You smell, that sulfurous, odoriferous, organic, almost acrid. The pH is really low in the swamp. Everything's very acidic. Just death and rot. And you're pretty confident that the only thing that's going to fix this is magic or fire, as far as the condition of your clothing. And anyone else who's got it on them, like Lark. Yeah, it smells
Do
bad.
they use their tails like a squeegee half the time?
Yeah,
It
nice.
smells really good. What are you guys complaining about?
It's
Not the
nasty.
worst thing I smell.
It just smells like not living stuff. I'm
Nothing.
just gonna wink and like point at Ezra, like nailed it, right?
Good job.
Thanks.
Great.
That was
Every-
very hard to.
Everyone but Ezra is sweating profusely. It's warm in here now. One benefit is, the quicksand was very cool. It's very chill.
The kobolds
if
sweat?
If it weren't so scary, well, maybe kobolds don't because they're cold-blooded, but if it weren't so scary, it might have been kind of relaxing, almost spa-like. But, yeah,
On you guys, I'm gonna go dip at the quicksand.
yeah. We'll
It's
mug-
hot.
we'll mug that. Yeah, it's just close in there, man. You can tell it's a sunny, hot day outside. And there are places, again, where the forest breaks and you get a little sun, beams of sunshine on the swamp floor. But you're free to continue forward. You've been in this thing for an hour or two. what are you doing as far as we go along? Like, do you have like a standing? Are you searching? Are you just strolling through the swamp? What's your general status as you trek inward into this disgusting mire?
Ethan would be looking for signs of something not natural. Like he's thinking about the carving, like a message or something that someone would have put there.
Yeah.
He's looking for something like that.
Yep. Go ahead and roll. Then we'll have Bryphon roll her nature check, and the party can roll investigation or perception, whichever is a better option for you. Because I'm assuming you're searching at this point. You're like, okay, we got to find this dude. You know, It's been 4+ days. We're in this muck. I want to go home.
I think I'll try to cast my locate object thing based off of the object that was described to me.
You get the sense you're in. This is difficult terrain, so you're basically spending the same amount of time and half the distance is covered. So you're probably you can typically move about 3 miles per hour traveling. So you're probably 1.5 miles into this thing, maybe 2 miles. What did you get on your nature check, Bryphon?
Bryphon rolled a 5 because she's a wood elf, not a swamp elf.
Yeah, swamp elf. It's funny. Yeah, so we've had a few hot feet, a couple close calls, maybe slipping off into some wet. A couple times the wet doesn't feel like it has a bottom. Like somebody's like, whoops, one leg goes in, and you expect your foot to hit something and stop it, and it doesn't. So you're like, golly, I don't know if I want to fall in there. Absolutely. Lark, you're going to cast Locate Object, right?
Yep.
Okay, it's a one action. It's a 10-minute duration, and it's 1,000 feet. If this object is within 1,000 feet, you're gonna be able to get this feeling, a vibration, a sense, a gut, whatever, however it works for you, of the direction of that object. You won't necessarily know that it's 992 feet away in that direction.
Yeah.
But you'll be like, oh, that way. So far, you just don't get that. You've cast a spell to find things before, car keys, cell phone. So you
Wristwatch.
Yeah. So you would know the bodies if it were there. So it's easy to tell that it's not here so far. And you can keep it up and concentrate for 10 minutes and nothing.
Never lose my keys again if I can fucking do that. Jesus.
That'd be
Why
awesome.
would you lose your keys? You keep them on the hook. You always keep them on the hook.
In the past, I haven't. I one time found them in the bed for some fucking reason. I don't know why.
Who's rolling perception right now or investigation?
I'm gonna do that.
Okay, Ezra, Ethan. What's that, Ezra?
I rolled 18
18?
in
I rolled-
investigation.
And I rolled a 13.
Okay. Yeah, so as you're looking along, Ethan, you can tell that this is like a game trail. Something's been through here. Ezra, you've made out a few footprints here and there. You've seen small game, like a small cat, maybe a bobcat or a lynx. You've seen deer. You've seen you've seen Lulu's footprints. Only these are similar but much larger, much heavier. There are places when things look to be a little bit like trampoly, but again, it's mucky and wet, so you might only get like one good print out of that trampoly. And you see some smaller kind of clawed bipedal feet here. And so it's a range of things you're seeing. It looks like some bipedal, humanoid, some large, some smaller, and also any number of, cat, deer, hoofed creatures.
For the large Lulu foot, I'll try to grab Bryphon when Lulu's separated from her, and I'll show her the tracks. I've seen a couple of these. You have any idea?
Lulu, can you see on Bryfon's character sheet? Do you happen to know what her favorite enemy might be? As a ranger, all rangers have a kind of a special core enemy they can track really well, or would recognize.
I think it says. That doesn't make sense though. It says dwarvish and plants, but that doesn't seem to make sense for favorite enemy.
Yeah. Oh, she's a wood elf, so. Yeah, no, that doesn't exactly make sense.
She hates plants apparently. I don't freaking know.
Yeah, the sense you get is they look a little bit koboldy. It's a bipedal footprint with claw depressions out in front of the feet. Three
Vegetable creatures is what her
Okay.
favorite enemy is.
vegetable creatures. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. What do they call those? Blights.
Broccoli man.
Broccoli men.
Yeah.
So you're definitely seeing some tracks. And it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard telling if it's groups of things or a singular entity. There's, occasionally you'll see, like Ethan, you've noticed a couple times, a trail will cross your trail. And you'll stop. Whoa, what's this kind of thing? But it looks much more faint than the one you're on. Maybe a couple of deer have crossed, or a small group of something has crossed. But when you compare it to the one you're on, it looks like you're on more of a main, like a more well-used trail than anything that's crossing it. What was your question?
To Bryphon Ezra, how many of these have you seen in the past hour or two?
Not many. It's been pretty obscured, but I can recognize at least part of them. Maybe 3 or 4. Ones I can say for sure. But I mean, there's been a lot of stuff coming through here that I'm not sure is wildlife.
Like how big are they? The footprints?
Larger than human. They're big. And they look, they depress and they
she'll
look,
put her boot next to it and just like.
and it's bigger than that.
Oh.
Yeah, they're big.
Could be.
They kind of
Could be lizard
depress in.
folk. Could be lizard folk, or it wouldn't be a dragon. There'd be more than that. There'd be missing parts of the trees, I'm sure.
Yeah, lizard folk wouldn't be surprising for this area.
But with so few prints, that doesn't make much sense. There
True.
could be more prints. There's.
Maybe they're old footprints. I mean, they're deep enough that they may have lasted for a while, Hmm. Alright, I just want to see if you knew anything.
What I don't know.
At least something this big.
I'm not familiar with swamps.
You notice
I've
ahead
only passed through once or twice.
as you're walking along chatting. You notice ahead. It looks like maybe the forest is going to clear out a little bit. You see a little bit more light. Maybe just less than 100 yards ahead of you. Kind of all the way across. It looks like you might be walking out of this woods. At least for a time.
I'll call back to everybody to keep their eyes open.
You
Not literally.
you get closer to the edge, and it's definitely the trees are thinning out. There are still trees out there, but it's not this dense, just morose, dreadful woods. It still smells bad. It's very swampy. It looks like you're getting into more of a fen or a bog than a straight out swampy forest. And if you look to your right, you notice the outline of kind of like a low, something constructed building thing. Just maybe 200 yards off the trail.
I'll immediately drop into a crouch
Okay.
and scout it out
Gonna head over there?
just to get a look at what's.
Or just look?
Not very close, but just enough to get a better look to see what kind
Yeah.
of building is.
Yeah, if you get maybe 30, 40 yards away, give me a perception. Is the whole party going with Ezra, or is she?
10.
10. So it looks like the remnants of a house, a home, a dwelling. The roof is gone. There is a doorway. There's nothing in the doorway. It's stone, stacked stone. The front right corner of it's mostly gone. There's a window to the left of the door. That corner on the left side is intact. There's a couple of stone, steps.
I'll double time it back to the group and see. Doesn't seem to be anybody's there. We might have a place to stay for the night.
Should definitely check it out. Maybe there's some sign someone was here recently.
Definitely a good idea. Clark. Actually, no. Probably best for us to go together. Let's probably head over there quietly.
It is a mouse.
Okay. Other than it's impossible to be silent because your foot will occasionally, or you get a little stuck or you'll squish a little bit, but you're not making a raucous noise or anything. And you make your way through. You got to, there's no real trail over here, so you have to kind of pick your way. But you find yourself standing in front of this ruins of what looks to be might have been like a farmhouse, a dwelling, a cabin in this. Again, this used to be, according to legend, this used to be farms, manors, castles. It's been all flooded, forest. So it appears you've stumbled upon the ruins of a simple dwelling. Looks like it's all stone foundations, stacked stone walls. No sign of any timber anywhere. Looks old.
But we can't see in it. I mean, we don't know if anyone's in it. There's enough structure, I guess, left.
Yeah, you could see in the door. You don't see anything in the entryway. If you look, lean and look in the window, from afar, not head in the window. You don't see that there's anything. Looks empty.
We should take a look and see if there's any sign someone was here.
Good idea.
Okay, so marching order
Anybody wanna go
in the
in, or-
entrance. Yeah.
I guess Ezra will go in first if nobody else
No,
volunteers.
sorry, my mic was muted. I said I was gonna go in, but
Okay.
Yeah, so you
You go
can
right
you
ahead.
can go in. It's a typical width doorway. You step in, and you expect it to be standing higher. You can even look and you see the floor is gone. There's the remnants of a few floor joists at the wall that are very, very rotted. So whatever the wood floor was is gone. You're in an entryway. It looks to be just a kind of a common room. If you look to the right, it looks like it goes into another room. And it's empty. No signs of any footfall. It's not quite as spongy here where the house is. In fact, you almost got the sense that you were raising an elevation by maybe 10, 12 feet from where the little trail was that you left.
There's sign of anyone having been here.
There are some rocks in the second room arranged in a circle. They're charred, but there's really nothing inside the rocks that, if there was fire here, it was a long time ago. Roll me perception. There's a doorway, again, no door. The doors are long since rotted and gone. That goes to a back room in the back right corner of the home. So whoever's in there, roll me a perception.
I got a nat 20.
Nat
so
20?
22.
Got a 5.
Yeah, so Ethan, you can see where it looks like trees have fallen in. You know, there's like a log, you know, it looks like it might have fallen in from outside and it's leaned against the inside. I mean, it's just a ruin. It looks like it's been here forever. But you notice in some of the vegetation that's growing out of the back room, you see a very large, very long snake hanging in that tree up there. And it's just kind of snaking. But it's big. It looks, you can't see the end of it, but it's probably almost a foot around. You know, at its widest point, the head's just a little smaller. And it's just kind of snaking. I don't know what snakes do.
I'm going to back up and point that out to Ezra.
As weird as this is, can I cast Detect Evil and Good?
Yeah.
Just because more than just the snake might be around here.
Yeah.
So.
God, I hope it's a good snake.
Me too. Hope it's a very friendly, not like undead snake. So, within 30 feet of me is their bad stuff.
I grant you 3 wishes, snake.
Yeah, you're gonna find aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, undead within 30 feet. You do not get a sense, and that 30 feet radius covers much of the house. Certainly the front half and into that room where the snake is, but you're probably thinking, I don't think I want to walk in there to just check that corner out since the big snake is in. I mean, you can if you want. Bryphon would mention to you that it appears to be a constrictor of some kind.
Awesome. I'm not afraid of snakes. This could be fine. I'm gonna... What am I gonna do? How much food did we bring with us?
Lots.
But is any of it snaky?
Where are the only snaky things?
Well, snakes.
No, I mean, does anyone want to eat the snake? Because, like,
snakes eat
let's
meat.
kill the snake.
Well, you don't have a need for food. I mean, if you're like, ooh, that's a special snake that tastes good, you might want it, but you don't have like a, oh my god, we gotta have food, I gotta take this snake down situation.
Do you want me to get rid of the snake, or do you want me to not get rid of the snake?
We have a small kobold that's snake food sized. I think we should get rid of that thing.
Okay. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go up to the snake, pat it, and cast Inflict Wounds at 2nd level.
Okay. I will have you roll initiative. As you approach the snake, obviously it kind of recoils and regards you, as snakes will do.
Mm-hmm. It's a 19.
Okay. This thing opens a huge maw, and you see teeth that rake backwards, perfect for gripping and holding once it gets on you, because in order for you to get out of it, you just dig yourself into the teeth. And it lunges at you. Does a 9 hit your armor class as its maw is coming at you? And it's
Nah.
big. Okay. Yeah, so it misses. And so you may go.
Yeah, so I'm gonna guess a 22 hits.
It does.
That snake's gonna take 23 damage.
Okay. Yeah. So that it just like stiffens and kind of jerks, and then the head drops and is swinging from the tree limb.
Dead
Deceased.
snake.
Deceased.
Good to know. Let's make camp. Fires are probably a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. We could cut open the snake and sleep in it for warmth.
No, I already smell bad enough.
Okay, do you want to snuggle then?
Like the snake,
No.
you can sleep near me if you want to.
Yay!
Nice. And that is where we're
At least
going to
somebody
draw
appreciates
our
me.
episode to a conclusion. So you're holed up in this ruined house. It's early evening. You've been on the road for a full second day. No sign of Roddy. Rhodey, excuse me. And so we're going to wrap it up. And we'd like to thank our viewers for hanging out. Let's do quick outros. Anybody want to say a little bit about what you do and who you are and where to find you? We'll start with Ethan.
I'm Chris, WikiVA on Discord and Twitch. My Twitter's below. You find me here on Wednesday nights, and you don't find me anywhere else.
All right, very good. Lulu, are you still awake, or did you go night-night? She might have gone night-night.
I'm back. I'm asleep.
I'm sleepy.
Nice. Thanks, Rebecca. All right, Ms. Misery.
I'm Kayla. You can find me on Twitter as Miss_Misery_. That's where I'm most active. I'm on Cranio Dance channel on Saturdays. Other than that, that's it.
Nice. Excellent. Shannon Logic?
Hey everybody, I'm Shannon. I'm Shannon Logic across most of the internet, or in select places I have a different username, Shan with the Plan, if you want to follow me on Instagram or Snapchat, which I'm now trying to do social media and be active on. So
Nice.
follow me on Twitter, really. You'll find my weird shit. I'm a fun time,
Cool.
depending on your level of sobriety.
Yes, that is a thing. We're going to raid into Lord Gazumba here. He's a classic Greyhawk dude. They're doing their Legends and Lore show. My name is Scott Y. the Hobbit. Thank you all for hanging out. It appears our party is going to spend the night in the swamp where I'm sure nothing bad can happen. So thank you for joining us. And we will see you all in a week. If you don't mind, just hang out for a second, those of you who are still awake. And go say hi and make lots of noise with Lord Gazumba's channel. And we'll see you soon. Thank you all for joining us and hanging out.